Welcome back to this Anaheim Ducks franchise mode. Here we are before the season of 2031. Uh, let's look at our lines and we'll get into the regular season and hopefully we can get back to the Stanley Cup final this year. Looking slightly different here. Same first line. Nakis is up on the second line here. Fiala is down on the third with Lundestrom and Hemming. I'm trying Petray. He's a winger, but he can take face-offs. I'm trying him here on the fourth line here, and Ludwig's back in the NHL. Defense is the same except for Seth Jones is on that bottom line. We're paying him a lot, but it's just get a vet in there. These are our goalies. Tarnowski is a backup now, so hopefully he can play well. Scratches, these are our scratches. So if some of our guys, like Petrie, doesn't work out, it'll probably be actually Mr. Misa coming up to play center there. He'd be the center normally. He's still listed as a third line center, but figured I'd change it. Leach is down to 76 here, so I figured I'd give some other guys a chance since we didn't win in the playoffs last year. So this is our AHL, and yeah, signed this guy just to be a backup, young guy. So we will get into the regular season here, and hopefully it goes all smoothly and we can get back to the Stanley Cup final. Okay, so here we are at the trade deadline, 2032. We're in first in the league by quite a bit. Well, the Kings are good in our division, of course, too. So let's look at how we're doing here. Zegras putting up a lot of points again. In terms of team stats, second in goals for the Kings in our division are beating us, so that's interesting to see, but we're better defensively. We're fourth though. Our power play is ungodly. So even though the Kings, I guess Kings 5-on-5 are better than us. And PK, we're third. So pretty good. I guess looking at that, what we could improve on is goals against a little. But we're at the top in everything. So Zegras with 37 goals already. Carlson, Marner. Marner's starting to regress, but still putting up the points. Byfield having a good season. Nakis, I guess, is helping him up there. And Terry, not liking that 83. Might make it to the end of his contract. Fiala's doing well on that third line with Hemming. And Lundestrom, I guess, is just a defensive guy. That's the one thing with us not having centers. We could pick up like a more offensive third line center. We don't even need to play him until the playoffs, maybe. Jones is doing well on that fourth pair. All our defensemen are doing well. Chikrin's the only struggling one. And Tarnowski's struggling. Alexander played really well because Clara got injured at the start of the season, so I might just throw Alexander in there and see how he does. Maybe pick up a cheap other option for goalie. But yeah, other than that, maybe a Chikrin replacement, maybe a goalie, extra goalie, and maybe a third line center. But they're all not super necessary. Probably the third line center would be the most. So let's get in here. Oh, I guess let's look how much before we get in there, how much space we have. We have 3.3. So, we're not looking for top guys at all. That's the thing. Bennett could be a third line, but he's making a lot of money. Jaeger. Making some money. I'm gonna see if there's any guys making not too much money. Crosby? That's actually not bad. He's got 2 years though. If even on 50% retained, that's not the best. Could be interesting. Because there's not much else. Let's look at Crosby. It would have to be this retained. It wouldn't have to be the whole thing, but I don't think I'd want him otherwise. Goaltending wise, they don't really have anybody we'd want to get. What about defensive wise? Adam Juracek didn't really turn out super well. We are looking for a lefty to replace Chikrin possibly, so it could be this guy. He's super young too. I'm playing with Seth Jones. And then we could still maybe, like, if there's a cheap enough goalie out there, like $1 million or less, then we could go get that. So that guy was a 9th overall pick. Probably be at least those 2 picks. Crosby is an 82. Still quite well. Still's got a pretty good shot. Amazing at face-offs. He's got 48 points. So he's going to have a better season than last year, probably. So it's probably like all the value we have, most likely. This guy's like jumped up ready for the NHL. Or not for the NHL, the AHL. We could give him a goalie. Do they need a goalie? I just want to give them the value because it's a pretty valuable. That might be too much because this guy was a 3rd rounder. Oh, he's a 6th rounder. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and a 6th rounder goalie who might be a little bit better than that. For a young defenseman and Crosby, I think that's enough value. Like, it almost, you might think we're giving up too much, but other than that, for prospects, Leach jumped back up, I see. We have this elite guy. Let's see if that goes through. They don't want to retain. We can offer more. I'm fine with that. Leach isn't playing, and he's making money. And he has a little bit of value, maybe that, and probably not more than a 4th. Who else has value? All NHLers. I like this guy. I'd rather give up other prospects first. Probably be a center. Could give him this guy. Could be a good third line center. Okay, they'd do that. So yeah, I'd do that. Because it was like a fourth rounder instead. This guy was a fourth rounder. 2169. Good puck skills. Good defense. He's not even a centerman. Let's do it. So we got Crosby. And now I don't know what it's gonna say for what space we have, but with Crosby, so that's more than we have. How much does Crosby make? 44 years old, by the way. So we have like 1.1 in space. So if we go look for goalies, so I think the best option is Columbus. As you can see, they're a good team, but Vinny isn't even in the NHL. So he's an AHL starter, 26. He's been an NHL backup before. He hasn't been really good, but we might just get an extra guy. Just in case, because he's probably not even going to play. And just give him the least amount possible because he's not really valuable. So they'd accept that if the money was not a thing. I'll just keep giving him picks. Okay, so they took it. And hopefully that should work well. And I'll get our line set up and show you guys what we got now. Okay, after the trade deadline, we got here our lines. So Crosby takes that center spot on the third line. That means Lundestrom just gets scratched. He's a really good scratch to have. And keeps everything else the same. And then we got Winquist in here. Chicken wasn't doing awful, he was just doing the worst out of all our defensemen, so figured we got a guy. And then Vinny's just scratched right now. We left, we put Alexander, give him the chance with those numbers in the 4 games. 4 games, 2 wins that he played, so. And then Tarnowski's going to be our AHL starter again, because he might as well be playing. So let's get to the playoffs here. Okay, so we made to the end of the season here. We won the President's Trophy again, so hopefully we can break the curse maybe this year rather than last year. The Kings tied for second in the league there in our division, so we're gonna have the Wild. The Pacific's now a weaker division other than us and the Kings. Looks like the whole West's kind of weak. In the entire league, we were first. Colorado, LA, Dallas, Winnipeg. Well, that's 5 Western teams, so we've got a few strong teams and then a bunch of East teams. The league seems pretty even now, like there's not that crazy mismatch. Sharks are still bad, even after, was it them that we, no that wasn't. Sharks, yeah, too bad. Goals for here. We made it back into first actually. So we actually improved. Goals against. We improved as well. That's good to see. Our power play percentage went down 4%, but it's still ridiculous. And our PK percent went up, but St. Louis's also went up. So I like the stats. I like when we don't have any really bad stats or anything. So the 300 point line's back, just barely, with Marner getting 100. So Marner, even though he's showing signs of regression at 34, he's putting the points up, and Byfield finally has his season. I thought last year he was gonna, like, he was on pace, but he still didn't even break 60 last year, and just breaks out this year. With that contract, it's fine either way, really. And Nakis has 7 more points this season in his sophomore season, so no sophomore slump for him. I just love the way he's built. Like, his skating is his worst attributes, and it doesn't matter in the sim. Crosby he only had 15 points, so not awful. He's on the third line. Fiala, very good on the third line as well there, so he might get re-signed. Hemming, 40 points. Lidwig on the fourth line, 29, pretty good. Petre, pretty good as a grinder. Moore, he's getting old. Zellweger with 70 points. Did he get 70 points last year, or was that Drysdale? I think it was Drysdale. Oh no, it was Zellweger. So Zellweger's a really good offensive defenseman. His awareness is just carrying everything. Drysdale with 60 points. Minchikov with another 50-point season. Jones, I feel like he was at like 24 points. He only got 2 points in the last few games. And Roy was good. Windquist, it looks like Windquist was like a 10, plus 10, so that looked like that really worked. Good. And Alexander played really well. I think Clara still will be our starter going in because he was about average. But Alexander looking good there. He hasn't looked good really at all. We haven't really given him the chance, but I don't know if we've ever had a goalie lead in wins, because we've never really had a guy we play a lot. So it looks like it'd probably be Georgiev who gets the Vezina. I think he's had at least one before. Rookies aren't very strong. I wonder if there's any goalies. Honestly, like, I might give it to this guy even though he had an 8.97. Hughes with another Norris. Not as many offensive scorers for defensemen, which is better because it's more realistic. We kept having over 100-point defensemen. And McKinnon went off. He's 36. Wow. Awareness is way down. Who's this guy? The franchise guy? Two-way forward. So Pasta again. Pasta's just a goal scorer. He's got to be over 1,000 now, hey? 912. He's still like 150 or 250 behind Ovi, so. Rantanen and Caulfield both had 60 goals. Will Smith is good. He's on the Jets now. Remember the first few videos there, he went to free agency because of a glitch, and I sent him back to San Jose, but he just went to Winnipeg now. He hasn't had a season like that until Winnipeg, so he must be playing with a scorer. Who's scoring on the Jets? I'm not sure. It's glitching out a little. So, plus minus wise. Yeah, it's just McTavish up there. Colorado's a really good team. And San Jose is not. Middleton's but still in the NHL. He's the only one over 100 penalty minutes. Pasta again, 434. Just trying to beat Ovi's record, or probably. Hughes, yeah, just the Norris guy. Reichel for hits. Fights. Yeah, Middleton, that's it. He's the only one. After he retires, it's all going to be less than 10 fights a season for the most. So let's get into the playoffs where we're playing, who was it? Someone in the Central. Minnesota. So playing Mason McTavish again. Last time we played, it went pretty well. So hopefully the President's Trophy curse doesn't happen again. He's first line center now. Had his first real, like, great season this year. Past 2 seasons he's been improving still. That's a really good first line. Good second line. Good third line. It's a pretty good team. Defensively, they're really good. They traded for Keandre Miller, I believe. They traded to their goalie, actually. I guess they had Wallstead still. That's a little crazy. They had like another 90 overall goalie. Wallstead's been really good. Been good in the playoffs. I think wasn't he like injured or something last time we played them? I don't remember. So yeah, it's a good team. Definitely not your typically built 8th seed. They only had 90 points in the season somehow. We win. Big offense game in that first game. And we lose 6-4, so, oops. So hopefully we can get one in Minnesota here to start. They've all been 6-4 games, so no goaltending. 5-3 win, that's good. See if we can close it out at home, hopefully. Minchukov's injured until a couple weeks. And we win, so that's good. We don't have to play without Minchukov. He might be back for the regular... Oh. I'm clicking too fast here. And who do we have? If Oilers can close out LA, who LA was the other super strong team, then we don't have to play LA. That would be nice. And it is Minchukov's back. The Oilers win. Okay, let's get Minchukov in there, and then we'll look at the Oilers lines. McDavid and Draisaitl haven't retired yet, and I didn't see them at. I guess we didn't look at free agency, so they could have gone to free agency without us knowing. Minchukov's gonna be slightly injured to start, but we're not gonna play without him. We're quite familiar with Edmonton. This is at least in the past 4 or 5 seasons, at least the second or third time we've played them. I think third time at least. So McDavid. Okay, so Draisaitl is no longer on this team, or he's injured. So it's McDavid and some other meh. Bouchard isn't injured anymore. Their defense is pretty good, but it's not crazy. Like, Minnesota was built a lot better. Skinner's been very good. Draisaitl is injured. So, I think their team's very meh without Draisaitl. Probably got injured in trying to beat LA there. Oops. Edmonton. He's back. He'll be back probably game 3 or 4, maybe 5. Probably Probably game 4 he'll be back for. Maybe game 3. First game at home. We win 4-2. We win both at home. We lose big in Edmonton. And we get shut out in Edmonton, so I'm gonna look at our lines. Obviously 2 goals in the second game isn't bad, but we've had some pretty big blowouts in terms of goaltending, so yeah, look at that, 885, so it hasn't been goaltending for sure. Alexander's come in relief in 4 games. No, that's a different season. So we're going to give him the chance because he was ridiculously good in the NHL in the regular season. So that top pairing's struggling. Second pairing's doing well. And bottom pairing's struggling. So I might scratch Jones. I might do this. Might leave them together and then scratch Jones and put Chikrin in. It's very nice to have the depth that we have, even with how tight we kind of seem to be at the cap. How much we're paying, like all these defensemen and all these players. It's nice to have all that depth. So 15, 14, 10 points, 5, 11, and 10. So Byfield's been just really good. And I guess it will be 5 points. So probably bump Fiala up. Terry in the middle, because he's kind of a center. Hemming has 4. Crosby has 4. Petre pretty good. I think we got to scratch at least. We're going to scratch more. And we'll leave Ludwig in there. It's 2-1, or 2-2 the series. Big game 5 here at home. Gage Alexander starting at home. And we lose. He lets in 4 goals. I don't know if I should give him another chance. Or if we should maybe bring up... Oh shoot, I accidentally simmed and we lost. So, yeah. That sucks. We left Alexander in there. We might have... Or no, we... Clara would have started that game. So Clara just pooped the bed in the playoffs. That really sucks that I did that. Spamming the buttons too much. Carlson and Zegras carrying. First time Zegras hasn't been leading. Byfield just coming out party here at 29 years old. Marner disappointing in the playoffs. Fiala good. Crosby has another year on his contract, but I don't know. Like, it probably is fine if he doesn't retire. Just disappointing. We couldn't get goaltending. Like, 880. You're not going to be re-signed. We might get another goalie, or we'll give Tarnowski a chance at the starter role. Just throw him in there. I guess, I don't know if the AHL is still going. We can follow them again. But, I think it's time to fire the coach. I don't know if we can right now. We might have to do it at the end of the season. We'll just say we're firing him this way. And we'll just throw one of these guys in there. Because this guy that we had, that we got President's Trophy cursed twice, 71% fit, but... And we won the back-to-back cups with him, but... What are you doing for me now mentality? 5 years with us. Made the playoffs in all of them. And in the second and third, we won back-to-back cups. We went to the second round with him every other year. So... But, yeah, I think that's... what we'll be doing here. It was the other guy, Bonino, for now, probably going to be our head coach. And we'll say we fired him. Because the HL team, are they out? They are. So we'll get to the end of the season. Florida wins the cup. We'll look at the let's look at the playoff tree since we were so not involved in it this year. So Edmonton went on to get swept by Colorado, which was just a really good team, and then Colorado lost in 7. Florida, I don't know how good of a team they were. They weren't in the top like 8 at all, so they were a lower seed. They beat Tampa, they beat Carolina. The only game that they were pretty dominant. Only went to 7 in the finals. And let's look at awards. So obviously, President's Trophy back to back, and again, just the curse. It was Colorado, Florida, as we know. McKinnon wins the Art Ross. So Colorado just had a good season, and they just couldn't quite. They're one game away from having a perfect season. Heiskanen wins the James Norris. I don't remember where he was, because it was Hughes at the top. Barkov wins the Conn Smythe. Georgiev again wins the Vezina. I feel like that's his 3rd one. Like, I think he's won it like every 5th year in this sim. Because I think he won it in the 1st year. So every 5th year he's won it, basically. That's pretty cool. That he's been that good. He must be like mid to late 30s now. That's back-to-back years where the Vezina Trophy also won the... Oh, I see our goal. Oh, yeah, that was the... Okay, never mind. And again, this is this guy's 4th Jack Adams. And 2nd time he's done it back-to-back. McDavid's 3rd Selke. And passed his 4th in a row. It's basically, you see Ovi there, and then basically just passes it to Pasta. So let's see what we have to resign, and we'll see if we can get up to the draft, and probably do the draft in the next video. So we got some older guys. Not really anybody. Clara, what are you asking for as a bad goalie? Oh my gosh. Tarnowski. We'll give you that. We'll give you that, and then we'll give you a shot. Alexander, I don't really want to re-sign you. This guy we should have maybe signed, but you'll have a bunch of time to turn out. And if Tarnowski doesn't work out, that guy I was not expecting to make it that well. Defensively, we got our top 4-ish. We could keep Chikrin in the top 4 this year. This guy jumped up to a low elite. That's interesting. Roy doesn't want that much money. That might be a sign that he could decline. But I'll give him that. Even if he declines like 3 overall or something like that. It's not that bad. I've got 29 mil, so this might be a year to make a big free agency signing. I don't know what we would do. Could maybe get a elite forward. Nakis went down. I'm sure that won't last. Because defensively, otherwise, we just got to figure out what that bottom pair is going to be. It'll probably be Chick, because this guy has a contract. It'll probably be Chicken back over to the right side. So Fiala wants a contract. He was good. Oh wow, we're going to give him to that right now. $3.95 for a 67-point score. So that's our top 6. Top 9 if Crosby stays. Does Leach want a two-way now that he was in the AHL? No. Still in RFA. Misa, same thing. Nope. More, I don't know. This is all free agency stuff. So we'll sim ahead, see if those guys resign. Roy does. Tarnowski does, sweet. Fiala does, sweet. Ottawa jumps up to first. Toronto jumps 13 to third. Isn't that what they did with the Matthews pick? No, no, they didn't. That was the Jets who jumped up to get Laine that year. A franchise power forward. That's pretty sick. I think there's another. That's the second one. Or no, Philly got an elite power forward first overall. I don't think we have any picks. I think we have a 6th and a 7th. So we're looking for like close to the 200 range for our picks. It's been a while since we didn't have any picks. We went for it and lost in the second round again. Haven't been getting first round eliminated much this sim. Like, I'm skipping by pretty much all of these because they're all just out of our range. Yeah. Still, even those guys. So yeah. We have one low elite and the rest will be kind of guesses. And he's not even very good. Could be like mid 50s. And Crosby does retire. Stamkos retires. He went when he finished that contract with Vegas. I think probably in the AHL. Played a season in the AHL. So Crosby goes 2,200 points. That's crazy that he's even like within 600 points of Gretzky. It's a little ridiculous. I think Ovi might have broken 2,000 points too because he had almost 1,200 goals, so maybe. Morgan Riley with over 1,000 points. I think he had about the same amount of points as Josh Morrissey, so I don't know if that's actually what happens. Allmark goes. Gibson retires. Binnington played on this team. So yeah. Getting some retires. Crosby, like, crazy that he's playing in 2032. He 44 years old. As old as Chara was. So let us look at who might have dropped down in terms of who he had to re-sign. Like, I was worried about Roy. Oh, Roy retired. I didn't even look at who retired for us, other than Crosby. So Roy retired, even after he just re-signed. I think. He wasn't in the AHL there, was he? No. And then offensive wise, now that Crosby's gone, I think he was the only one that could have. Because Fiala's still there. Marner's still there. Other than that, it's all just bottom, like, fourth line, third pairing guys. Clara, do you still want ridiculous? You're such a bad goalie, man. Let's look at our progress reports. So Marner, negative natural growth. He's getting held up by his stats. Byfield, unfortunately, all stat growth. Same with these guys. All these mid-aged guys, now that's most likely what everything is for them. Even Minchikov and Drysdale. Terry, getting like, he's like the same as Marner, getting held up. He's got 3 more years at almost 10 mils, so. Same with Fiala. Nikki's had natural growth, so I guess he's just slowly making it. I don't know how Clara didn't just tank. Natural growth for this guy that we traded for. In the AHL, these guys who may probably not make it. Our goalie still growing very well. This guy was okay. I'd like to see a lot more growth than that. Other than that, not too much else. Where's this guy? He unfortunately still had to play in the OHL. He's been getting better every year. Yeah, it's actually crazy. He only had 35 points and he was that good when we drafted him in the first round.